So I do want you to contextualize this video that has been circulating on the internet of you talking about the lover boy method. So we'll take a look at that right now.
Sure. You cannot get a girl to work for you having fun. Oh. So the recruitment process is the same as the PhD course. You message them on Instagram. The PhD course is my recruitment system. I don't mention webcam until after I've had sex with the girl. Oh. If you're on dates and you're trying to mention it and shit, it just doesn't work. It puts them off. I'd never do that. That's disgusting. I'm not a whore. It's just not gonna work. You continue as normal, no mention of webcam. You f the girl. After you f the girl, you do the PhD test. If she passes the PhD test and she wants to be with you, then you start mentioning things like, yeah, but you know, you're always busy. You're always at work. You can come work for me.
Okay, so first question, when was this video taken?
Yeah, so this video is from 10 years ago, and this is me explaining how having a webcam company, it's actually a larger video as a whole. I'm explaining how having a webcam company can affect your relationships and how it affects your dating life. It also explains the fact that one of the girls I was dating at the time was working on webcam at the time. And it's explaining my general, overall, explains my life and how things are affected owning a pornography company, because obviously a lot of women will be put off by that. It doesn't explain, it doesn't say, I'd be very careful how I answer this question because I'm currently under an investigation, right? So I'd be very careful how I answer it. People are trying to chop it up and say that it says I am using the lover boy method to somehow convince women to do things they didn't want to do. This is obviously not the case, and none of this is in the case file for a reason because it doesn't exist and none of these women are upset. But this is simply me explaining, it's actually a dating course I made a long time ago, and I'm a little bit embarrassed about it, to be honest with you, because it was 10 years ago and I was talking about women and dating and things in a way that I wouldn't talk about them anymore.
Right. Interesting. So yeah, you look very young in the video.
I'm super young, and I'm talking about, hey, when you sleep with this girl or you meet that girl or you meet this girl on Instagram, and I have a webcam company. I don't tell them I have a webcam company. And I just think all that's kind of crass and it's below me. Yeah. And I don't really like talking about it. And it's amazing how things change as you mature and you get older. But once again, I was a much younger man. I think if you were to take any 24-year-old and look at the stuff he puts on the internet, some of it's going to be stupid. And I think if you look at anybody who made things 10 years ago, some of it's going to be stupid. It's absolutely not really not criminal in any regard. There's nothing criminal about it. It has no bearing or any interest in the current case. But yeah, I was talking about how I don't mention I have a webcam business. The basic premise of the video was me explaining that I don't mention I have a webcam business ever, and that I'm Mr. Rich and I have this nice car and I go on dates with girls. And sometimes when I say I have a webcam business, some of them want money and they want to work for me. That's the basic premise of it.
Right. I'm glad to hear that you're not proud of the video. And I think that that's one of those things where I say that people don't allow you to grow up from things that you've done or said in the past. And this is obviously when you were operating a webcam business, you're talking about.
And that's the whole thing about the human experience. We're supposed to grow, right? And we're supposed to make mistakes and we're supposed to learn from them and we're supposed to evolve as people. And I'm certainly not proud of the video. When I say I'm not sorry for what I've done, I don't mean it in a, I would do the same things again. I don't mean it that way. I mean that at the time I was a lot less knowledgeable and I was younger and I made some mistakes. And just like I'm sure Jay-Z would never sell crack again.
Right.
Exactly the same reason I would never make a stupid video saying something so stupid again. I also could have never predicted the fact that I was going to become one of the most famous people on the planet.
Right.
I didn't see that coming. And if I did, I would have been a lot more careful with what I said and how I said it. And I do think that it's part of every person's journey to make some mistakes and learn from them and grow from them. And I kind of find it interesting that if I was a reformed drug addict, there'd be no problem. If I was a reformed murderer, there'd be no problem. If I was a mafia boss and I'd sit here and I'd killed 3 people and we were doing an interview and I was like, yeah, I used to kill people. I've done my time. I'm out of jail now. I get less flack than if I made a video talking about dating when I used to have a business that did webcam than I currently get, you know? So all I can do is understand that I was a younger man. I did the best I could at the time. And I was trying my very best to survive in a very harsh world. And I understand now that a lot of the way I said things, I certainly shouldn't have said them that way, but none of it is criminal.
Right. And it, again, has no bearing on your case.
So kind of the things we said on the earlier reactions, he kind of addresses that. He's not directly apologizing, but he's explaining that he's not the same person he was. So I think we need to put some level of perspective that
grace
that people do horrible things. He's saying he would never do that again.
I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made so many mistakes. I mean, if they went through my past with a fine-tooth comb, it would be embarrassing. You know, there's a lot of things that I've done that I've regretted. You know, his method of, you know, saying he made a mistake. You know, I get why he's doing what he's doing. I think it would be more genuine if he would just outright say he was sorry for it. You know, but he he was 10 years ago. Even the cadence and the way that he talks 10 years ago was so different to this interview, right?
Oh, dude,
you're gonna see it in his face. He's grown up. He has kids now. He has a wife or probably multiple. But
he said he's not married, so
he has girlfriends or whatever. I genuinely believe that something's going to happen to him in the next 6 to 12 months that is going to have him see the light. I mean, that's what we're hoping. We're praying for him, that he will see the light, that he will come back to his faith, that he will be a man that speaks up against this stuff a little bit more intentionally. I think that's the purpose. Is language as a man is very important. The way you communicate and articulate your thoughts means something.
Yeah,
I agree.
Like I said before in previous videos, he just started this journey.
Yeah,
right. He's ultimately still a baby in his faith in God.
Yeah.
So I imagine as time goes on, there's gonna come a point where he's gonna realize, like, it's not about the woman, it's about the men he affected, and he probably will speak on that more. Like, sorry guys, like, I took advantage of you. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I don't fully. I'm not surprised that this is as close to an apology as we're gonna see out of him right now.
All right, we got one more clip, guys.
They will for the rest of your career.
I'm sure they will. And it's fine. And that's fine. But I mean, it's just like, okay, 10 years ago, a decade.
Yeah, they're going to keep making you answer for it in every capacity. I've seen that. God forbid you misspeak, you miss a word while you're saying something, they will circulate it over and over again. That's just the world of social media.
For me, what I feel is I don't feel guilty about them, but I do feel embarrassed because I don't feel like the way I spoke about women or the way I spoke about romantic relationships is my current view on romantic relationships. I think I've certainly matured. I was a young, brash, arrogant guy. This is what happens when you have a young kickboxer who's beating everyone up, who's making a bunch of money from the streets.
So much testosterone.
I was a young, brash, arrogant guy, and I spoke in a way I perhaps shouldn't have spoke. And I'm sure if Jay-Z makes a song today, he won't speak about women and crack and drugs the way he used to speak about women and crack and drugs. It's just the reality of life. And you have to grow, and you have to take the embarrassment which comes from growing. So I will certainly sit here and make sure, I think the whole world understands that that's not my message. That's not what I'm teaching young boys today. The young boys who are following me today have no interest in these videos and don't watch these videos unless they're pushed by haters. And I think that overall I'm a net positive for the world. I think that men being so disenfranchised is, I want to say something quickly about the British school system. The English school system has attacked me, and now they're trying to put me, they've spent billions of dollars trying to remove me from schools because young boys were running around saying, "What color is your Bugatti?" and repeating my sayings. I don't think I can really truly be held responsible for the fact that young boys repeat a saying, especially one that's not particularly aggressive. I think that shows that the young boys are looking for a hero and someone to look up to, and I feel like I'm filling a gap. And that's why I understand it's so important I say very good things and teach very good things. And I don't think I would have learned so much good if I hadn't been involved to a degree with the dark and the bad. I don't think there is light without dark. A lot of my lessons and a lot of the messages I give to the world come from the fact that I grew up in one of the worst areas of the Western world, surrounded by drug dealers, surrounded by real pimps doing real bad things, surrounded by broken homes. I learned all these lessons, and if I had never had those experiences and never grew up in that scenario, how could I be a person who's now teaching young men, disenfranchised young men, the realities of the world? How could I? We talked earlier about having a sheltered life. A sheltered life doesn't allow you to be the kind of man who can teach. So yeah, I spoke in a way I shouldn't have spoke. Yeah, I regret the video completely. Have I ever hurt anybody? No. Has any of the girls who are being mentioned in that video come forward with anything other than defense of me? No.
Interesting.
Nobody was actually hurt. It was just very brash, very arrogant, very bad delivery, which I regret.
I see the transformation. I see the transformation. I mean, actions speak louder than words. Yeah. It's just words right now. We got to see the fruit of what he's saying in his own life. And I mean, Jordan, what do you think of what you've seen, the transformation verbally, at least, that he said on this video? We haven't seen the fruit action-wise necessarily in fruition, but he's, like you said earlier, he's on that journey, like all of us men are, to become better men and have a better mindset and a better character. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, he's far more stoic, far less brash.
That's true.
And arrogant.
He's far more calculated today than he was, 5, 6, 7 years ago. You could go back and look at old podcasts of him, and it's like his volume's way up here. He's all over the place, super flamboyant. And here, it's just, he's very stoic now.
Yeah.
I mean, in terms of like his actions, you know, he does donate a lot of money, like millions and millions of dollars.
25 million a year.
Yeah, to feed homeless people. And, you know, he does a lot more than people realize. And I like how, you know, even in other videos, he's talked about how he doesn't like talking about those things.
He's ashamed of it.
Well, no, I mean, like, he doesn't like talking about the good things he does.
The good things. I thought you were referring to
yeah, because he doesn't want, you know, people to think that he promotes that about himself. Yeah. But those are things that he does do, which are pretty good fruits of his labor, you know?
Yeah, I think we believe, I think all three of us believe that actions speak louder than words. I know a lot of you in the comments on our previous reaction have explained that you think he's a flaming liar. Just watch this. Let us know what you think about it. We want to get your guys' feedback on, do you think that Andrew Tate's for real? Do you think he's a changed person? Do you think he's just saying this so that, you know, the Romanian government sees him in a better light? We don't know. We're just kind of giving our reaction to it. But I appreciate you guys sticking around. Remember, when we get to 100,000 subscribers, we're all going to eat a Carolina Reaper pepper. If we get to 1 million, all three of us will go bald. Deal?
No.
For 1 million?
Absolutely not.
Gee, come on, you got to give the fans something.
No, absolutely. The only way I'm cutting my hair is if I lose in battle.
like you get scalped?
Yeah, I got to get scalped.
We'll do a tattoo on Jordan's shoulders of our choice, and then we'll both shave our heads.
If we get to 1 million subscribers, I might shave my head.
I've got every inch of my body planned out for a tattoo. I'm not doing that either.
We appreciate it, guys. So we will see you guys again. But don't forget, we're the Wilson Brothers. We are.
Subscribe.
Peace. Subscribe. Peace.